So I am claustrophobic.
Right.
I realized it when I was in an elevator one time, and I called the 911 button. I said, please help me.
Okay.
But I think I was a little too hysterical at the time.
Right.
And I was like, please, God, you got to do something. What if this was on fire? And she just hung up on me.
Wow.
And so after that, I tried to call back, and he was like, listen, I know we got off on a bad foot.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Well, she shut it off. Time to go home.
time to go home. So I had to like crawl out of the elevator myself.
Yeah.
It was a cathartic moment though, because I felt this is just like life. Nobody's come to rescue you.
Yeah.
You got to do it on your own.
Well, welcome to Getting Up.
Yeah. I want to know about this comedy Kookaburra Lounge. I can't pronounce it. Do you know how?
Well, now I've totally spaced it because you just said it weird. Kombucha? No, fuck. It's not kombucha. That's a drink. Kookaburra Lounge. Right. So I had heard from Peter Murphy at a good place.
The Peter Murphy.
And also the Kookaburra Lounge, because when you look it up on Instagram, I can never find it. And you got to add the. Anyways. Yeah. So I go down. It's an audition night, right? It's Tuesdays or something. Sort of weird. They tell you to show up at 3. The show's at 7. I don't think any of that's accurate. I was like, what? Some places are like that. You know, the Laugh Factory is like, show up yesterday and then we'll put you up today, maybe. And then there's 8 people that live outside the kid home.
7 was fucking.
Yeah, I think that's wrong. They're gonna fix it. They're new. So I get there at like 4:30. I sign up. It's a thing, and then we go in there. We audition, and you get 5 minutes, which is rare.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I know Laugh Factory's 2.
Laugh Factory's 2. Most places, yeah,
And
2 or 3.
3.
Flappers is 2. 2 and clean.
2 and clean.
Clean 2. A clean 2.
I don't want to hear anything dirty.
So Kookaburra Lounge, though, by the way. So you audition. You go in. Cool room, jazzy, 1920s, kind of like a vibe, Art Deco.
That's nice.
Yeah, and the owner is a comic, and I think her husband is a Grammy guy. I think he wrote All I Want for Christmas, Mariah Carey. I read the other day. Anyways.
That's good. That's a good, because it's like that. Everybody thinks that's an old song, and that's a new song.
Yeah. So he co-wrote, and so I think they do music and some burlesque, and then they also do comedy, whatever. It's kind of like what I suppose in the 20s, right?
Yeah.
So good room. Yeah. So 40, we all go up, and then they called us back for like four sets. They called us back. Somebody opened for Tony Rock, and then they had 3 of us, which was that night. And then 3 of us got booked on other shows.
That's what's up, dude.
Yeah,
and it was that night that they did it.
Yes.
That's what's up.
Yeah. And then they did like Flappers. You know, it's kind of like you audition, and then like, all right, we're going to put you on some shows, which is really nice. Not every place is like that.
No. And also, I think it's cool that, like, immediately. Where it's, I feel like with the improv, it's like you get to go up on the main stage, you get to do your bit.
Yeah.
But then it's like, we'll see you tomorrow at 6, and then you never know if you'll ever be seen up there.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Yeah. Yeah, I feel like some of those clubs that have like a plan, here's what we're going to do. Even if their plan is, we're going to put you up because you're going to bring friends and they're going to buy beer, whatever, that's at least a plan.
It's a plan.
Some of these places, like the store, which I have not been up yet, it does feel like, how do you get in there? Do I need to work a thing? Do I have to be...
Yeah, and that's the thing, I don't know what that is, like the potluck. I know that there's a thing.
Yeah.
I just always imagine people bringing like dishes.
Yes.
So like I can't actually imagine.
It's like a Baptist barbecue potluck.
Or those rolls. But like there's this, I guess.
If we can get everybody one week to show up with a dish to the potluck.
Come on. Theme it.
Pretty fucking late.
Theme it, bro. Bean green casserole.
Yeah.
But there's this like, you go there, you sit outside, and then they pick you out of a hat, but you don't even get to see them pick you out of a hat. Like they do it in the back, and then they just put a list on the door, right?
Yes. That's what I hear. Yeah. Don't you feel low, like now having gone to a bunch of places, you're like, how random is this hat pick? Because I'm watching some of them, and I'm like, this guy's got up 3 times in a row.
Totally.
He's the luckiest guy.
And I don't want to mention names.
No.
Josh Edelman
Right.
always gets up. Always. And he also show at the improv. So I'm thinking maybe there's a little bit of...
A little something.
Something.
which is fine. I just want to learn what that is.
Yeah. What's the origami? You got to double fold. And then I was like, that was my thing. Like, I was like, I'll fold the ticket like this. Yeah, I won't fold the ticket.
Did you fold the ticket?
Okay, then I folded the ticket. I double folded the ticket.
Hilarious.
Didn't fold the ticket.
All right.
They were like, no.
I was going to airplane. No, I thought the same thing. I'll airplane the little ticket so the guy will be like, come on.
Oh, this is a fun
ticket. That's hilarious. And that's what you thought. And they have a bucket. I'll tell everybody. I don't know if everybody's watching that's a comic, but my mom's watching. They have a bucket, hat, whatever. They put everybody's names in it. Usually they tell you like the first 5-10 people that show up get in for sure. And then everybody else is sort of like, all right, we'll just draw out of a hat. Right. So it's random.
Right.
What we're saying is maybe not so.
Maybe not so random.
2 minutes, though. I feel like they're just looking like, are you insane? Like, I don't even really care if you're funny. Do you come from an interesting point of view so that I can, because we know you'll grow.
Yep.
Whatever. Just give me something like that. Follow the rules. Don't be weird.
Follow the rules.
Can you follow the rules? That's it. That's your 2 minute set.
Like, how do you run the light on a fucking 2 minute set? It's like, bro, this is your only thing. Just show that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen it where guys just keep going and going. They got to play the music on. It's like, bro, it's all you had to do. Even if you weren't funny.
I think I saw 6 people at the Laugh Factory in the same night get played off.
Yeah. Running the light is like, it's such a cardinal sin.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's disrespectful to the other comics.
Sure.
But also it's like, that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Because some of these places, you go, why fucking this and fucking that? Nobody cares.
Yeah.
But like, the places that are clean, you might get nervous. I get it. But like, all you got to do is like, when you see that red light, just stop.
Yeah.
Or just wrap it up.
Yeah.
And people see it and they're like, nah.
Yeah. They just keep going.
How do you do it, dude? Like,
or clearly they have a time to themselves to see like, where's this joke going? Like you don't see the light and then go, marriages are weird, right? And then go into, what are you
guys dating? We're comics.
Yeah. What are you doing? Yeah. I don't know that I've run the light. I did, though, at the Improv, die a hard death because I had recorded my set, thought I would, I'm recording it, voice recording in my car, I'll time it, because 2-3 minutes is weird for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, give me time to talk and be myself, whatever. I'm not
100%.
So I got to structure this thing out. So I'm like, all right, 3 minutes is weird. 2 minutes is weird. I'm going to listen to it in my car. I'll use my timer. And I thought I could crank in 3 jokes into a 3-minute set, and it was really 4 minutes of 3 jokes. One was a little story, and I raced through the last joke because I don't want to burn the light.
And if they start laughing, you're like, no, I gotta.
No, you're missing that. So I just died a horrible death at the end of the 3 minutes. And I was like, well, fuck it, I didn't run the light.
Nope.
I was like, thanks, good night, I'm out.
That's the better move.
Yeah.
That is the better move. Because even if you go like, I wish I had more time for this, people go like, hey, we'll pick him because we want to hear if he's got more stuff.
Right.
If they like the first 2.
Right.
But the idea that like, look, I'll wrap this up just 1 more minute. Like, that's not how this is going to work, bro. This is your fight in the fucking institution right now.
It is funny, though, that there are those cardinal sins in stand-up because it's as unstructured as we pretend that it is. There are some real hardcore rules.
I will tell you, besides running the light, I think that, I don't know if it's a cardinal sin, but I think that there is like hacky things that verge on ruining a show.
Okay.
Like, I was at a show where this guy asked these couples, like, hey, what do you do? How'd you guys meet?
Okay.
And there was one couple, was an Indian couple. And they're like, we had an arranged marriage.
Right.
We got together.
Okay.
And this guy just fucking dogged this couple the whole time. They were like, Jamal, and they were Indian. He started to do the accent. I'm like, bro.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna, like, it's gonna take like 4 comics to like this wipe you out. And like this idea where I don't know if it's just like you as a comic feel like, fuck it. This is me.
Right.
I want to express who I am. Dude, see that for therapy, bro. When you feel the room.
Right.
Well, one of the skills for being comic is feeling the room. So when you feel the room start to bring it up for your own sake. Yeah. And if nothing else, for the sake of the other comics that are following you. Like, if you feel like you hit a topic and it starts, and you're like, I'm going to go for it. Yeah. And you take 1 step, and then you get that step, and pivot. Yeah. Pivot for you, pivot for them. Yeah. Pivot for the comics who are coming up after you. Right. And there's some guys who are like, You know what? Here's another thing about rape. And you're like, get the fuck off the stage, bro. What are you doing? Why do you think
They're tone deaf, or they know that it's happening? And
I am a cynic, so I believe they know what they're doing.
okay.
Because I think you know when you're rolling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know when you're rolling.
Yeah.
So if you know when you're rolling, you also know when people can't breathe in the room because you've sucked the air out.
Right.
You also know that.
Right.
And I think just some ego thing. I don't mean, I get it. It's like everybody's got an ego. You work with it. Some people are super talented and they have egos. But some people, it's like they only hear what they want to hear.
Sure.
So it's like it could be like part disorder, part ego. But like, I can't believe. Because then they'll go like, what? What? You guys are what? It's like, you felt it.
Yeah.
You felt it because you're acknowledging it. God, or pivot, or do something to get us out of this.
Right.
And I feel like when you start to kind of,
Yeah.
I'm going to do 3 minutes on this uncomfortable bit. And then the next guy has to come up and go, hey, like I remember somebody did like a thing about their balls for like 4 minutes. And I went up after them. And I was like, I am so sorry to tell you that I have no material in my testicles.
Yeah.
And it was like, bro.
Yeah.
Like it was like, yeah, it was like Andrew Schultz showed up. Like I was like, dude, the relief on these people's faces should tell you and everybody else.
Shorts. What do you feel about shorts? I feel
No shorts.
Say no shorts, right? That's a no thing.
No shorts.
I don't ever care that people wear suits. Or like I don't feel like the dress up like it's the 60s or whatever, like we're getting on an airplane.
And if you sit, you better be fucking hilarious.
Yes.
If you grab the stool and just sit down, bro, you better be Dave Chappelle.
Crushing.
Because these people who just sit down like, hey, everybody. It's like, it's literally called stand-up now. Like, you got 15 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Use your legs.
I mean, the guys that you know that can sit on their names. The guys that can sit on, there's like, what, 3 of them? Maybe.
And that's the thing. And I feel like as soon as somebody goes up, if they go up and they grab the seat and they sit, like Ali Sadiq famously just sits and doesn't sit down. It's like sits in a chair like this.
Right.
But dude's killing and he's doing stories. But it's like when you're at a fucking 5-minute mic and you sit.
What do you do?
Bro, what are you doing, bro? Like, what do you think? I don't know. It comes across as like a level of arrogance that bothers me.
What about notes on stage with you? And when is it okay?
Never in a show.
Okay.
But the thing is, I go...
This is a show you're booked on or that you're paid for. Obviously, never in a show.
But if you're Anthony Jeselnik and you're prepping an hour and you get time at the store, bring up your notebook and you can go, I didn't like this, I didn't like this.
Yeah.
Famously, Shane Gillis, before he got popular, spent like 3-4 hours a day at the fourth wall.
Okay. Oh, no kidding?
And he would just go through it and be like, yeah, we're doing this. Nope. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that one? Okay. And it's like, dude, you're planning an hour.
Sure.
So do what you got to do.
Okay.
But I think that there's an element to it where if you're also planning the hour, record it.
Right.
You know, you record it, memorize the jokes, because you're going to have to memorize them anyway.
Yeah.
Record it, and then go back and go, yes, no, yes, no.
Yeah, I would say beginner guys going up with notes. Unless you're one of these rooms where you're like you fourth wall, right?
Yeah.
Where you get only $5, you're going to get on. It's definitely a room where like we're working, fine. Bring up the notes if you got to do it. But if you're auditioning, no.
Dude, don't bring up notes auditioning. And also, don't bring up notes. It's like, if you're doing like a 9 o'clock spot at a club that's packed, and you go up with your fucking diary, it's like, no, come on, man. Like, give the audience a respect. And it's like, there's another thing. It's not a cardinal sin, but it's a thing that somebody gave me a note on where they go, if you're doing a show, like a prime show, like 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, a big time show, if you're going to do a joke about your job, talk about it like you used to work there.
Okay.
Because no one wants to hear from a fucking IT guy about his day when they just paid $20 a drink, $20 to get in, parking. They want to hear a professional comedian.
Right.
So if you're going to do a joke about your job, do, hey, I used to do IT work. And let me tell you this, because then they go, now he's a professional. Right. That's why we paid money. Right. And I try to do it. I remember one time I went up and a bunch of friends came and visited. Did you get fired?
And you're like, no.
I'm trying to be a professional.
Yeah.
But that element, I was like, that's interesting because it's a psychological thing that I think people go, oh, this guy's, he's not even a comedian. He's just our time.
Showbiz.
Yeah, and if you go off and you go like, hey, I used to work this job where like the boss was, as opposed to I worked this job where the boss is, and now I'm just here fucking taking your money. I think that little twist in that little thing, I'm like, hey, that's a great little note. Not a cardinal sin, but I think it is something where people, like, I think, like, I've been to shows where people go, like, I drive Uber for a living. Right. And you could feel people like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Like, they back out. You could feel back out. And it's just like, if you used to drive Uber, they're like, oh, give us all the stories about what used to happen now that you're a professional comedian.
Yeah. That's funny because to go with that, once I go into the club, presumably like, what are we, an hour early or whatever, I go back into the green room. If you have to go through the stage to get back, which is not uncommon. I'm not coming out of the green room unless I'm outside smoking.
Yeah.
Right outside the club, I feel like, okay, you'd see a comic outside the club before the show, that's fine. But I'm never coming back out. I don't want people to see me.
Yeah, I'm not a person that.
Yeah, where I'm like, nah, let's I'll give you a little, let's give a little show. So the fun first time you see me.
Yep. And there's also something where once you're seen and you're outside, like, believe, like, oh, he's a star. He's got some place to be, unless you're selling merch or doing something like that. Right. But like, yeah, there's this.
After the show, different ballgame.
After the show, different ballgame. Yeah. But it's like, yeah, you want to present that sort of illusion of,
sure.
And it just appears.
I'm busy back.
Doing things. We're doing cocaine.
Besides crowd work, which gets a little nuancy because,
Because some people live off of that. Like, I know Matt Ref just did like a special one now. And again, blessings to everybody who's doing it. However, not my particular cup of tea. Yeah. Guy's a killer, so bless him. But it's like, for me, there's definitely like, do your crowd work. I want to hear jokes. I don't want to have. And how about you guys? I remember I was at a show, this guy did 20 minutes where he literally just interviewed the audience. Yeah. How about you guys? What do you do? Yeah. And where are you from? And I'm like, bro, what are you, Barbara Walters? But yeah, it's fucking, what are jokes, Yeah. And he literally, I think he's 15 minutes. And he's like, okay, that was fun. At least we got to know each other. And I was like, thanks. I guess. I appreciate it. Yeah. I went up there, I was like, hey, Martha, you're in sales, aren't you?
I mean, I'm trying to remember. I know I've done it before. I'm trying to remember what context. It was obviously a time when I got 10 or 20 minutes and I had a lot of time. If something's going on in the room and you have to address it, I'll tell you about a time I quit comedy for 4 months. This burned me bad and it hurt. And I was like, I'm not doing it. There was a place in Indianapolis, Indiana, and it was a real hot bar, restaurant, kind of hipster place. A lot of heavy metal going on in there, and then they would only serve vegan food. One of these kind of places where it's weird, kind of like hipster thing. Whatever reason, they had this crazy, great show, and they would get Doug Stanhope and people in there were huge. Well, the booker was really great to local comics, and he would let you go on, and we'd do 5 or 8, 10 minutes. He would really let you go up, and you chose everybody. I don't think he had a lot of shit people on there, but it was good. It was just a great room. And they're really good to you. So I don't get heckled a lot. I'm talking about my kids and I'm a dad, whatever, my life. Yeah. I just don't get heckled a lot. I don't have a lot of retorts to heckle. I don't have any material for that. I just never had it.
Yeah.
So I go in and I'm halfway through a 8-9 minute set, whatever. Guy on the front row is just super drunk, insanely drunk, falling out, not really angry at me or whatever, but just talking to other people and whatever. And then he talks to me a little bit or whatever. And I just didn't have anything for him. I fell apart. I got off the stage early, whatever. And it just was like, fuck. I got to build some heckler material.
Yeah.
I got to build it. I got to get some stuff ready. So I'm pumped. Well, the guy's great. The booker comes up. He's like, that was awful, man, that happened. It was terrible. Come back next week. I'll put you on. I was like, great. Thanks so much. Give me another shot. So all week I'm thinking about what am I going to say? Okay, great. I cannot wait to do building it. Even though it never happens. The odd that it would happen twice would be insane. I go up again. It's very spotlighty in the face. I can't see past 2 or 3 rows. Big deep room and high ceilings and everything. I'm 2 minutes in. And all I'm thinking is, come at me. Somebody come at me. It's never going to happen, but that's what I'm thinking. I'm ready to fight. I'm going to fuck you up. I think I had one joke here that I really had, and everything else was nothing. And so somebody starts yelling. 2 minutes in, I can hear him at the back of the club, and I can't hear what he's saying, but it doesn't matter. Because in my head, I'm like, yeah, you're getting this. This is fucking going. And here we go. And I go right into it. What's your sleep number, buddy? 3? This doesn't even make any sense.
Bless
The guys keep yelling, and he's yelling, and I can't hear what he's saying. It doesn't matter. And I lose the audience. I can feel them get cold. And I'm like, well, what's going on? I've been thinking this. And I'm trying to get it back. So then I'm like, well, I'll go harder at him. And I'm just going to go harder. I'm going to start swearing at him, and I'm going to get whatever, and I'll get him back. And I can see people on the front row just kind of shifting. And I'm just like, I got to get out. I got to get out. I got to get out. It's like you in the elevator. You got the stage. I got to get out.
I can feel the claustrophobia. Yeah. There's no 911.
Yeah. So I'm like 4.5 in. You're supposed to do a 10-minute set. I'm like, you guys are great. You're not. I got to go. And I bail. And I get off the stage, and the comics that are off to the side in a booth are having the best night of their life because they just watched me die a thousand deaths. The best. It's so fun. Back of the room is a guy who's local to the area, mentally handicapped. I didn't know. I couldn't even hear it. He just screamed out stuff, and he would just yell. I mean, anything to do with me. I was like, I got to sit out.
4 months, though.
4 months, I just was like, it hurt. I was like, that hurts.
I saw Joe Coy do a sold-out show recently, and this lady in the front row gets up with her husband, and they walk out. And the guy, Joe Coy's like, I guess they're going to the bathroom and having a good time. I gave you blah, blah, blah. And somebody next to him goes, her husband's blind. And so then he's like, oh, my God. And then he's like, so do you think, she holds his dick?
Oh, yeah.
Brought everybody back. And I was like, professional, bro. Genius. Because I'm like, handicapped. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What do I do? And then he came back, and then everybody, laughed, and she was cool with it. Yeah. And he was like, we're talking about, do you go to his bathroom? Do you go to her bathroom? Do you want the dick? Yeah. Do you shake it? Yeah. Do you ask him if it's okay? Can he feel that it's okay?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Way smarter to call that out in a room, I think, a little bit, which is probably smart crowd work because everybody else feels it.
Yep.
Too. And if you can...
They're right in the front, so it's like, they got crossover, so everybody knows what you're talking about. But sometimes somebody will be like, blah, 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 blah. Like I remember it was at a show, and this guy told a joke about something. Like Nick Pitino or something, one of these football coaches who got caught with kids or something.
Oh, yeah.
Remember this?
Yeah, cool.
And this guy told this joke in 2023. And he's this Nick Pitino joke. And this guy in the front row go, what year did you write this joke? That guy died.
Yeah.
You could see his soul left his body. And he probably had 6 minutes of Nick Pitino jokes.
Right.
First off, you shouldn't be doing that. Know where you're at in the era.
Right.
But the guy just died in 2 minutes. He just got off and left. And I was just like, that's a shame because that guy's not wrong. But you feel bad for the comic because it's if they're able to roll with it, then we can, as comics, laugh. He's getting his balls busted. Now he's trying to play.
Right.
But he was just like, yeah, okay, well, what else? I said, oh, man. Yeah. It's not like a bunch of puppy die, but it's at the same time, he's not wrong, bro.
Yeah.
It's 123, bro. I mean, yeah. Nick Pitino.
When you started, you're from New York.
New York.
We should tell people.
Yes.
I started comedy in Chicago.
Chicago. That's the thing. Chicago's fucking banging, bro.
It was, I was not, I'm not having any idea. I don't even think I could tell you about the scene when I started because I didn't understand it and how it worked, and it freaked me out. First places I went to were black rooms. I didn't know what that was.
Best place to sing.
I didn't know that, so I had no idea.
Yep.
I was like, I got to be louder. It just, you can feel that I have to be louder. All right. So I'm going to start doing that kind of comedy. Mm-hmm. Some other places, and then just kind of learned that, how to fail and not fail as hard, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I also, when I went to Purdue, I went to Purdue, and we would do a lot of coffee shops. People we study. They don't give a fuck about open mics, and we would just do it. International students, whatever.
Sure.
And in that situation, you are almost forced to do some crowd work because what else? They're talking to nobody. They're like, we didn't come to see anybody. It's a full room. But half of them are like, I have to finish this paper. So you would have to stop people in the middle, and maybe you can get everybody on board if you bother.
And then somebody looks up from their stuff.
Yes. So I asked a lady from Ecuador. I was like, hey, where are you from? She's like, Ecuador. And clearly had a real thick accent. And I was like, that's how far is that's like an hour from here or what? You know, just pretending I'm an idiot. And
hey, that's good. That's good.
And then I just, and then I said, the Patino thing reminded me because he molested kids.
Yeah.
And I started going to this joke about Patino. And then I turned to her and I was like, you know who he is? And she was like, no. And everybody just was like, well, fuck. And then I was like, all right, well, I'll just tell you about him. And then so I just explained in detail the whole thing to her. Hey, molested kids, and like, do you guys do that? Is that an Ecuadorian? Do you understand? Molesting? No. Have you been dreaming of traveling easy? We all know it starts with a dream and a budget. Why hassle with third-party vendors when Delta.com has the cheapest tickets for more than 100 destinations in the U.S. and abroad right on their website?
Delta?
What? No more looking and comparing. We offer it all in one place and always at the most affordable price for non-stop destinations. Delta.com. Arrive already.
Delta.
Delta.com.
Delta.com. Thank you, Delta.
Thanks for doing that.
Like, do you have one of those jokes where you go like, man, I love this joke, but I don't know if I'm offending people or they don't like it or it might give a bad impression of me.
Well, I'm obviously only concerned with laughs or whatever, so I don't care. I don't think about too much whether or not I'm going to ever offend anybody generally.
No.
Because I'm usually not like, well, it's either AIDS or rape. What are my two options? I don't have a lot of those, you know? Unless I get AIDS or one of my kids does, then I'll talk about it. Whatever. Not that it's all dad stuff, but just like unless somebody in my family experiences it.
That's a great point.
You know, I'm probably not going to get into it. It was real rare for me to do a political thing the other day. But here's one thing. I think this sort of answers that question that I struggle with a lot. What makes me laugh personally is not generally what I'm telling on stage, okay? What makes me laugh a lot of times is, and maybe that's wrong, I'm sort of trying to figure out what I want to do with that. Because I'll laugh at some stupid shit. What makes me laugh is not necessarily that. So I'm really looking for like, what do I think will connect with people? I'm going to use real stories. I'm not just going to make it up. You ever rob a bank? I'm not going to do, you know. So I'm going to tell, because I feel like that's a cardinal sin. Yep. Like, you know, I own a Ferrari. Those are weird. I feel like you're not really sort of allowed to just make up shit.
Yeah.
You probably are. But,
but you should try to sound as like yourself.
Yeah. So I try to keep it that way. My problem is, and I don't know if it's ADHD, which I have pretty hardcore, I'll get bored of the joke like you do, right? You just get bored with it. And I'm like, does that joke need to go? Because I'm bored with it.
Right.
I mean, I think the gauge is the crowd. If you're still laughing at it and you haven't recorded it, I suppose if you're to the point where you're recording specials, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Keep it. You could always punch it a little bit here and there. Like I'll mess around.
That's the thing that you feel internally where you're like, is it the joke not funny anymore? Or is it because I don't care?
It's because, and because of the way I'm selling it. Like if I'm excited about a joke, I sell it different.
Right.
And that's the whole chemistry part you're trying to figure out. Like, how can I fucking sell this like I really give a shit?
Mm-hmm. John Mulaney used to do these. Like, the joke is always the funniest the first 2 weeks you think of it.
I believe it.
Yeah. Because you're piping hot with it.
Yeah.
And then when it comes, like, second month, third month, you're like, I'm just trying to remember the excitement that I had so that I could put it in the special. But, like, it's not like, oh, I can't wait to tell that. Where the first 2 weeks, it was like, oh, this is naturally exciting to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun because And I guess some of that is, I think that is a really funny take, which is, by the way, how I laugh about something. I think that's a really funny take.
Yeah.
Rarely am I fucking losing it. Just laughing. I think at the end of Pete Holmes' podcast, he always says something like, what's the hardest time he laughed? And I always think, like, what is the hardest time I've laughed? I'm really trying to remember. And whatever it was, it wouldn't be funny on stage.
Yeah.
It was.
Because it's in that little moment in time.
Yeah.
Like, if you can recreate that moment in time,
right,
you can do it. But, like, so many times I'll be talking at a bar or hanging out with somebody, and I'll start a bit, and then people will be laughing, and I'll go to my phone and be like, oh, my God, remember that thing you just said. But then you go back, and it's, like, time to write that, and you're like,
that wouldn't.
How would I wish
Where would I get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's just a cocktail of whenever.
That little moment in time where they said something and how they were riffing off of you.
Yeah.
But, like, I think that the thing is when you're getting a joke and you're like, oh, man, this is a killer joke. Love this joke. Tell the joke. Awesome. Tell the joke. Awesome. And then like the third month you tell the joke, it doesn't do awesome.
Yeah.
And I go like, I'm kind of sick of telling that joke too.
Yeah.
Is it that I'm sick of it and you feel it? Or is it that it's not funny anymore?
Right.
Or what is, do I need to spice it up? Do I need to change it or whatever? But sometimes it's like, there are jokes that just go out to pasture. You know what I mean? And you got to just be like, hey, like this is not. But then there are other jokes where like I did a joke about testosterone, about going to the doctor and he goes, you have low testosterone. And I was like, well, how can I raise it? And he's like, well, you can get a lot of sleep and abstain from sex. I was like, doctor, I'm the rock of testosterone. Yeah. I got too much testosterone. Told that joke for 2 months. That was my opener.
Okay.
Then like third month, I was like, wait, I like that joke.
Yeah.
Why is that not working anymore? And I still haven't figured it out. But like that element where I go, it's not in the garbage. Right. But it's in kind of this purgatory. Right. Where I'm like, where does that, do people not like the rock anymore? Where am I? Because the play is nice, but am I sick of it? Or is it? And so like those, but then there are other jokes where I'm just like, nah, that one's got to go. But then there are other ones that are just like, man, I just got to find the way back into this. But I'm not going to lose it. I'm just going to kind of
put it there.
But
you mature too, I think. As a comic, you're maturing, right? As a human, you definitely are. I mean, we're probably slowing down a little at our 40s. But everybody is. Those jokes are going to hit, I feel like, differently.
Yeah.
And the makeup of a crowd. I'll tell you an extreme example I had of that, which was really rare. I lost 100 pounds when I got divorced. No, it wasn't good. Like, not in a healthy way. In like 3 months, I lost like 100 pounds, okay? And I went from being like pretty heavy set guy to like getting an agent, booking tons of commercials, girls way out of my league. My hair started to get silver. It was a major change. That's to the point where in life I was like, I don't know who I am. That's true.
This is the blessed, the gift of the curse.
Yeah. My whole life I went by my middle name, Andrew Madrid, right?
Okay.
When that happened, I was out on a date with a girl, one of the first girls after my divorce. And I got married at 18. I didn't have a dating period. Sure. So I'm like 34. I'm divorced. And I'm like, I guess I'm single now. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what that means. I know I could be charming. I lost a ton of weight. People started paying attention to me. I was like, oh, I'll just become somebody that I want to become for a while. So some girl one night was like, just felt like I was talking about comedy, which I hadn't done a tremendous amount of. I'd done it when I was younger. I hadn't yet done the Chicago thing yet. And so I wouldn't even say like, oh, I'm working as a comic. Not a lot, but I was doing this, that, and she didn't trust me. So I showed her my ID. My first name is Benjamin. So she started calling me Benjamin. And I was like, you know what? Feels kind of nice. It is sort of my name. I'll just start going by that.
That's like a lot. I have it.
Exactly what I did. And I just switched over. I'll tell you about the story about coming to LA at some point in the Hollywood Hotel, because it's a long story and all drawn out and all that kind of stuff. But yes, absolutely. Then I just started to become like, who is this guy? And I was like, what are the types of guys that I was always afraid of in high school and never wanted to be? Oh, the guys that like work out a lot. Okay, I'll go work out a lot. I always hated on that as a comic, probably because I was scared of doing it.
Yep. You have to be yourself.
Right, you got to be yourself.
So it's like,
that's where I've come back to the dad thing, where if you ask me what kind of comic I'd be like, I don't want to go up and be Ray Romano necessarily.
Sure. I
really don't want to do that. I don't really want to go up there and talk about my kids necessarily. But right now you hear that a lot because I'm sort of committed to doing what's going on in my life.
And what you know.
Yeah. And what I know. I don't really want to get into church stuff because it's so weird and out there. I'd be like, you ever be snake handling? And they're like, no, I never have.
Yeah, so when you do your hour, though, like when you get into like 30 minutes in and you can start to get into your class and like people get to know you. If you're doing your 10, 20, you kind of want to keep it in the right now.
Yeah.
And it's like somebody told me one time, like the hardest thing for a comedian is to sound like themselves.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's really good because there's so many times, like I've heard comics go up there and they're just like, you believe these bitches? And I was like, dude, you never say that. Right. Like in your life, you never say those words. No. And it's coming across that way.
Yeah.
And the guy looks like a jock and he's but there's something about his aura
Yeah.
that's not that. You know what I mean? But I think what's cool with you is that you're coming from the personality of, like, I lost this weight, I got this look,
Yeah.
and I'm still just like, is this working? Like, and that's kind of cool because, you know, people can kind of flow with that, and people always feel that about themselves. Yeah. But if you were to go, yeah, I'm George Clooney now, people go, no, you're not.
Yeah.
We're feeling it out. You know what I mean? But we still, even though you look like it,
right, but
coming at it in this other way, it's like the honesty is so important that it kind of trumps all that other stuff.
Yep.
But at the same time, if you don't know, like you're like, oh no, I'm going to be a badass now. And it's like, how come these jokes aren't working? It's because people can see that.
They can see it, yeah.
It's like telepathy is real, bro. Like I mean, you go into a comedy club. I just recently was at a film festival, and like when a movie's going too long or something's going, like the whole audience is like, you could feel everybody like, get me the hell out of here. Right. And we're not talking. We don't know each other, but all these strangers in the room are feeling the same thing. And so, I mean, as a comic, that is so key. When you're up there, you got to go, oh my God, this is not working. I got to do something about this. Yeah. As opposed to like, what if I'm louder and I don't know?
The way I combated it at the time was that I remember having a joke where I said my therapist, which is always easier to talk about something internal to use that. My therapist. I said, my therapist said, you should do comedy like the comic you want to be, or be. No, I said be. I said be the person that you want to be, and then eventually you'll become that. And I just said that on stage, and I was like, so I wrote some jokes as the kind of comic that I would like to be, and I turned around, and then I turned back around to the mic, you know, like an actor is like in scene, some bullshit like that, and I turned back around, and I was like, what's with all the, what did I say? Why are all the single Hispanic dads getting all of the pussy, something like that, and just the cocaine, where are they getting so much pussy? And it made nothing to do with my person.
That's great. That was, but the acknowledgement of this is
not
like, yeah.
Thanks for watching and/or listening to the Gettin Up Podcast, a comedy podcast with comics. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll see you on the next one.